Welcome to this Peel Yourself Off the Mat Monday edition of Bury Your Bookie. Good to be back with you guys. An insane sporting weekend, lots of different stuff. The wide world of sports, the old thing, the constant variety. We got much of that over the weekend as we head towards what used to be a very, very dark day in the hearts and minds of most degenerate gamblers, and that would be Black Wednesday. But that's not the case anymore. I think the WNBA is probably running like a Christmas Day NBA schedule to try and fill the void there of stuff that you can bet on. Now, we'll get to that later in the week, but right now we have to get to our good friend Mike Jones, who joins us every Monday and Thursday here on the program. Michael, how are you? I know you have some thoughts about that final matchup. I don't know what kind of price you could have gotten on this. It had only happened two times, I believe, previously in 1911. And Steffi Graf, I think, pulled off the old double bagel and cream cheese in the finals at Wimbledon. But it happened again, and it seemed rather improbable. Iga Swiatek was playing real good tennis throughout the tournament, very solid, taking nothing away from her. But the American, Amanda Anisimova, who has trained as a young teenage girl here when she was coming up right here in our backyard in South Florida, and many people saw her and observed her and thought she was going to be something. She took off and started her career very well, then had the mental health break where she was out of tennis, has come back and storming back, beat Sabalenka in the semifinals in a tennis bloodbath, and then, wow, I mean, laid two big fat round number eggs in the final, and you're thinking it is something that suggests that there is a definitive problem with the modern day athlete as compared to that hard nosed guy that you liked when you were working with Parcells in the New York football team.
Yeah, I just think there's tons of distraction, and I think there's a lot of people in the team. I think there's a lot of outside circumstances that might take effect on the athlete of today. The way we raise our kids, the situation of one sport. We grew up playing all sports every day, doing something. Today, you focus on one because you want to make it. You want to create your own Tiger Woods. And I think sometimes it gets disturbing. The mother flying in, she addressed her mother in tears at the, and was she addressing the tears if it was 6-4, or is she addressing the tears that she lost 6-0, 6-0? Like that's, to me, she's going to live with that. And does she bounce back? This is going to be the character of Anisimova now. Give me a little bit more now after a devastating, debilitating loss that when you look at the history of these matches, you're going to see 6-0, 6-0 twice in Wimbledon history, once in 1911 and once in you. And it's like, what can you do to rise up over it? That's going to be a challenge. It's going to be very interesting to watch.
Well, and she made a remarkable comeback.
Yes,
made
it was a great comeback.
stride. She said that she was gassed after the Sabalenka match and that she never picked up the energy level going into this one. She looked zombified when she walked out there on the court. Swiatek is tough because she was 5-0 in slams, now 6-0 in slam finals. So she never lost under those circumstances and seemed to be very comfortable on the occasion. But wow, you could see it like from the very first game when she was broken there and nearly broken at love. It might have even been a love game, but you're looking going, my God, that this woman is lifeless. She's paralyzed. It was kind of like when Canelo Alvarez froze in the ring in front of Floyd Money Mayweather when everybody was in wild anticipation. And it was such a departure. You mentioned you want to see how she bounces back, but that was an old horse racing theory where a horse puts up a 110 buyer speed figure, wins by 6.5, and now is maybe moving up in company or going on a stakes race, and you're expecting that same performance, and you get the bounce factor, which is, and I don't know, is this applicable to human beings? I guess it would be. Teams where you play a great game and then you just go out there and completely lay down.
Yeah.
To see it happen under those circumstances in an individual sport is especially painful. I mean, you could feel for this girl as she was going through that.
Yeah, I mean, is it a case of Van de Velde there? I mean, it's not maybe that bad, but to me, it's like Van de Velde being the Frenchman who had a 2-3 shot lead going.
Oh, that was a great story. Yeah.
And made some mental mistakes, and she did totally was out of character and ended up triple bogey, getting to a playoff and losing. And everybody calls
him. He rolled his pants up, and he was in that little moat there.
Yeah, it just in golf we call that a Van de Velde when you make a triple on the last hole when you're trying to beat a guy for money and you make a triple. So we have fun with it. I don't know if you'll ever make anything but Anisimova getting blitzed when you can't play, maybe, but you feel for the girl mainly because of what she went through, but you got to look at the fact that she did go through this, and now it was written on her face after 3-0 in the first set. I thought that she looked like that she was beaten then, and that's not like it because a lot of tennis matches you see 5-2 down. Look at Alcaraz against Sinner. 3 match points pending. You could have got him at 12, 15-1 in the French Open final. And all of a sudden you get, he comes back and wins. So there are that ability in certain athletes that can withstand that pressure of the moment and come back. But I wish for the best for her. I hope, she can bounce back for this. She can. I mean, I think anybody can if you can find a way to block it out. We'll see if maybe that time off built her mental capacity to say maybe it was just that she was out of energy and long 2 weeks. I mean, Djokovic made the same comments in losing in the semifinal now. At his age, it's really tough to bounce back from 5-set matches consistently playing it. He wants to win majors, but all these majors are 3 or 5 sets for men, best 3 of 5. And maybe that grind at 38 is telltale on him. So if he could say it, and I'll listen to anything he says, then sure enough, I could say you can bounce back from anything. But maybe there's a grind in this that we don't know or understand.
All right, that's fine. I remember looking at this and I was thinking about putting a couple of bucks on it. Of course, I didn't because it won. But she was 4-1 after the semifinals were configured to win it all, and I thought that was a pretty good price because you were thinking, can she get by? You thought she was going to face Sabalenka in the final, and that would have been, I think, a much more prohibitive spot to be expecting to get that 4-1 payoff. But nonetheless, I mean, she ended up cashing the ticket for a lot of people, I would imagine, and so good stuff there coming from Iga Swiatek, who grass was not her best surface. Now, the other two guys, Sinner and Alcaraz, fairly even matchup. And these guys are razor thin apart. There's not much to separate them. Sinner prevails. He wins the last 3 sets 6-4 after losing the first one 6-4. Sinner in 4 seemed to be somewhat of a popular opinion. I don't know. What were your thoughts?
4-1. Yep, 4-1.
4-1 on that, huh? Wow.
It was 4-1, Sinner in 4, Sinner 3-1. Exact score was 4. It was 4-1. My thought was it was Pick'em, and then the move was a little bit on Sinner, similar to Anisimova was a 170 price going into the week, going after Thursday, and then it went to 290 by getting Swiatek went to a 290 favorite, so the money was on Swiatek. A little bit of money came in on Sinner. The fun part of betting Sinner was you got plus 230 after the first set.
Wow!
So you thought he could bounce back, and he did look like some troll. But the key factor for me was Chris Fowler making a point that he heard. I don't know if he heard these exact words, but he made reference to it. Was Alcaraz yelling at his team that he's better and faster at the baseline, harder than he recognized. I thought that was an interesting comment that he had made into his team, that he was more worried about what Sinner was doing more than his own game, that he felt the ball was coming back at a better pace and his movement was better today than it was when he placed them, I guess, when he looked back at the French or in times before. Now we get to the hard court. I think Sinner's about ready for a little bit of a run. I think withstanding that elbow, getting the break with Dimitrov, and Dimitrov had him on the rope.
He was not even on the ropes. This guy was out of the tournament, essentially.
Right. And it was like you're watching that saying, but maybe he caught the break of a lifetime and a change, and now he holds the cup and he holds the Wimbledon trophy, and now he gets to go to play in U.S. Open, which would be the next major that these guys want to bet off on. And the incredible part is now those two guys have won the last 6, 8, 7 majors, I believe.
Yeah.
So we got a 2-man tennis where we used to have 3 in it. Now we got 2, and now it's going to take the Sheltons, the guys of the world to come up and Fritz's and try to get in there and take one from these guys. But it's going to be fun to see who has the ability to step up. Jack Draper's got some talent. So we'll see what happens on the hard court season, but it's going to be fun. The women were going there for a while, was wide open. Now I think the men with the 2 top players, now it's going to see who can come up. I think it's going to be some interesting, fun watching over the next 12 months in tennis.
Unlike golf, though, it appears you're fueled by self-sabotage if you're picking anybody else to win one of these slams besides one of those 2 guys, whereas but we see this all the time now, and it's going to happen again. The Open this week, I don't know if that's your favorite tournament because
I love it.
I'm not sure if you're a links golf guy, but I used to love it because literally, I mean, the the courses, it looked like the opening of a British novel, like a Dickens novel, where you're seeing these people and they all look like schleppers, and no one's got. It looks like they've never seen the sun. They're standing out there, and the wind's whipping, and it's dark clouds, and the ocean it looks like as uninviting as it would be to go to the beach in the wintertime in Atlantic City, where you're thinking nobody goes in this water. And then they're just slightly offline, and the next thing you can hear Peter Alice, "Oh, it's a shame his ball has found its way to a watery grave." You're like, "What are you talking about, Peter? He's in rough so thick that nobody could ever hit out of it. You need a machete to get out of this stuff." Totally different game, and yet you're going to see Scotty Scheffler, who had a decent performance. I guess he was 9 under. Schauffele's always going to get consideration. He was 9 under in this Scottish Open prelude. You had the nondescript European schmenk Chris Gotterup win the thing. But McIlroy and Scheffler are 1-2 in the odds. Scheffler almost 5-1 to win the Open, and McIlroy I think is 7-1. And I'm thinking you have to look elsewhere. So, any
Right.
thoughts on that? This guy Fitzpatrick, kind of a rogue European guy, seems to
Yeah.
be a considerable factor in these spots. Did he not win the British Open one
He
time?
won the U.S. Open. He won
U.S.
the U.S. Open up in Brookline, Massachusetts. Yeah, but
Yeah, so he's been in the winner's circle in these spots.
right.
I don't know anything jump off the page at you there, Mike, and then I have to ask you. I mean, do we go into the golf pool again this time? On this, I think
We
we got
could.
to get the $50 at least as a combined entry and do it. No,
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should. We get a shot. Ludwig Aberg took it on the chin yesterday. He had a chance and blew up a little bit on Sunday. Had a rough round. Maybe the European weather got to him a little more wind possibly. This is one of those ones where I'm going to look at a prop maybe to say a first time major winner. One of those kind of things. With the weather comes over there. Let's go with a field bet of saying that the guy who wins will be a first time major winner prop. That could be, you get a little plus money there. But there's this is really tough. I probably would be a live better on this, just waiting for the tournament to start, get a feel for what the weather's like, or wait till later in the week. But I'm more inclined to say maybe we're going to get a first time winner.
I'm looking at two guys that are 110-1. Okay, and this guy was a factor in this tournament, the Scottish Open. Nikolai Hogard.
Yes,
Nikolai Hogard,
yep,
110-1.
right.
And then also in there at 110-1, I believe, is Maverick McNeely. Maverick
Sure.
McNeely.
Maverick McNeely, hey, he's a top 12 FedEx point guy,
Yeah.
so he's a chance to make the Ryder Cup. So
One
probably
two.
you got a chance for an outside guy who win Ryder Cup. If he makes a top 5 finish, probably gives him a chance to get in the Ryder Cup. So yeah, that's a good number.
Your $20 gets you 2,200, and you're feeling like a champ there.
Sure.
And Fitzpatrick is 38-1. Not a bad price.
Fitzpatrick's legit. Yeah, I would think he played well. Didn't put a big number up yesterday, but yeah, it's just golf's like it's really tough. 156 horses, and you're going to take the 3-1 shot, and 5-1 shot. Yeah, they might win. Yeah, but are they really legitimate? Should be the legitimate odds on these players? So they're not really too sure about that. Maybe they're a little bit short because you got more bettors now that I don't think you get a fair price. So I think maybe there's some value somewhere. Victor Hovland comes to mind. I mean, guy with a ton of talent.
In there with a shot.
That hasn't really performed really well. Majors had a run where he was top 5 a couple years ago for a couple tournaments, but kind of in and out. He's a banger. He's a risk taker on the golf course. Here it could be a little different, but he's a Norwegian kid who's played a little bit in weather growing up. I know he went to college at Oklahoma State, so he's been primarily a U.S. player for the last decade. But if you go back, these guys. I like a European top player to win also. I do always think there's just an advantage because you're playing in those elements. I like that a lot of the American players are going over there to play the Scottish Open a little earlier, so they get a couple, 2 weeks in the weather. I think that helps.
I hope the wind's blowing out of control. And wicked rain interrupting play. They tend to just stay out there because it doesn't matter. The course is like playing on I-95, the way the ground is. If you can keep it in the fairway, you can roll one to the green from 50 yards away. And that turns out to be an effective shot. We'll see. But yeah, definitely going away from the chalk in this one. I'm going to try to find somebody. It's interesting, Mike, because before I was doing this show I was on earlier this morning, I was looking at golf betting, and I was trying to find the odds on these guys, and it was actually an instructional guide into different ways you could bet golf now. It
Right.
sounded like the menu at Skyline Chili. You can bet a two-way, a three-way, a four-way, a
Yes.
five-way, and you know what? You're thinking, no, no onions for me. Forget about that.
Right.
This stuff is going to go right through me anyway. But yeah, the two-way, I guess, consisted of, and I'm not sure exactly how the pricing worked, picking a guy to win, and then you're also betting that you're hedging off that he'll be in a top five if he doesn't win outright.
Interesting.
As you
Yeah.
said, I mean, you're talking about a field of 150. Look, of the field of 150, probably 80 of them are capable of winning. So you should be getting at least 80 to 1 on virtually everybody.
Right.
Oh, clearly some people have a better shot than others, but to nail that and whittle it down to 4 or 5 to 1 seems. I mean, you're going to go broke very quickly if you're playing
Yeah,
chalk.
and one of the things I like to do when I was really digging into this a little further, I haven't been really paying attention to golf as much lately because I've slowed down a lot of my play, and I'm
Yeah,
not around the guys who deal with it and watch it and dig into it all the time. But
yeah, I love it.
one of the things that I did do was when you taking a guy to win that was a long shot, I would take him top 20, top 10, top
That's what you
five,
have to do. Sure.
all the way down line. So if you take it, you're putting a couple $100 out there, spraying it, and you want it on one guy, you spray it on that guy and hope he gets through the cut, and then he's got a chance with a good low round to jump. I've seen a lot of players come and barely make the cut by a shot or two, put a low round of 64 in there. Next thing you know, they're top 10 after Saturday, and now you have a shot. You never know. I mean, it is asking a big task, but you just want to make the cut, and then you move up slowly with a good low Saturday. Moving day Saturday, as they call it in Augusta National, is moving day for any golf event by just having a really good round Saturday once you get that relief of making a cut. And the fun part about golf is, these guys got to make the cut to get paid. If not, it's their own expenses to go over there. So there's pressure around that cut line. And if you get that, then maybe the relief relaxes them, gives you a better chance to come in and play a better round on Saturday because the paycheck's coming. I have some young guys that I follow and a couple I've known that struggle on Sundays with that, knowing that they're thinking about the paycheck more and the pressure gets to them. So you always have to watch that with a guy who's 100, you're paying 110 to 1, who's ranked in the top, barely in the top 100, that he's also looking for a performance to get a real, in that $1 million round if you get to the second or third place. So there is pressure all the time on these things, but in these matches. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of taking a long shot, and doing it.
I like the hedge off there. I think that's probably worth looking into. As my grandmother said on her deathbed, two pieces of advice that have stayed with me: always take the points and always bet place. So you're in a horse race where only one person can prevail out of a giant field, but if you have them in the top 10 and they're a bomb, you might be able to cash both, which would be great. Anyway, good luck, people. What was zeroing in a little bit more on that as the week progresses here. The Open, as it's called right now, I still can't get away from calling it the British Open. I don't know. It's kind of like Tony Dorsett, even though he said his name was Dorset. It's like you should respect the fact he should know how to pronounce his own name, although nobody knows how to pronounce Swiatek. Including Iga. No one's ever even asked her, "Hey, Iga, how the hell do you say your name?" I've heard it pronounced a dozen different ways. All right, home run derby tonight. I don't know what level of interest you have in that. I used to be, I mean, just absolutely impassioned. I couldn't wait for the All Star game back when I was a kid. You won't believe this, Mike, because you're a young man, but they actually had two All Star games in a season, and I love both of them. Now, this preceded interleague play. So there was naturally a great fascination to see how Bob Gibson would do against some American League hitter, or having these American League guys going up against Sandy Koufax. There was a lot of intrigue in the All Star game that isn't there anymore because these guys do play each other on a regular basis. But what level of interest do you have, in the home run derby, which seems to have been diminished and thinned out to the point, much like the slam dunk in the NBA basketball was a centerpiece? And now I would have to say that there's probably more interest in the three-point shooting among the skills competition at the All-Star game. And we all know the NBA All-Star game is a joke. I attended the All-Star game when they had it here in South Florida a few years ago, and the game itself was just a boring snooze fest. Didn't seem very competitive. Nothing much was happening. Didn't see a lot of spectacular plays. And everybody, of course, was riveted to the home run derby. But is that being diminished by the fact that none of the star players, I mean, there's no Aaron Judge, no Juan Soto. None of the guys that you would normally anticipate that are up there, except for Cal Raleigh, are even involved in the competition. What do you think?
Well, first of all, we've seen that a lot of these players seem to have different batting stats in the second half after they compete in this home run derby and make a run. So I've heard that the guys that it takes a little bit out of you to go up there and hit 30 swings a couple of times in a row, swinging as hard as you can to hit the ball out
Yeah,
of the ballpark. So it does take a little bit out of you. And then now we have different rounds and how they're arranging it. I'll tell you what, though, the home run derby for me started in black and white in the 1950s.
having that.
They had those videos, and I thought that format was fantastic. If you make it out, it stays in the park. You make it out, you get 3 outs, the next guy comes in. Maybe try some different format in the finals like that. Make it a real like baseball game where the innings go up there and the guy gets 3 outs, and then the next guy pops in there, and then the other guy, and you rotate it. And maybe make it Otani and Judge in the home run derby like that, and have it be an old video. I think if you go back and look at them on YouTube, I think they're a fun watch. They sit down and talk to the announcer after each out. They
Mike
get up and
Jones
go
was
play.
the guy who invented the
Yeah,
show.
I thought it was brilliantly done. I always thought they could have gone to that way. But I mean, you got all these people paying for this. They want the balls. Everybody brings their glove. They want the outfield seats. So it's kind of a fun time, and for the fan base, I think. But I'm going to look at the guy from the Nationals, Wood. That would be my pick tonight. I think
Okay.
he's a young kid
Kind of nice
trying to
league.
make a name, big lefty. Atlanta Park maybe favors a little left-handed hitting.
Good thing.
And I like the young player. He's the fact that he's the third choice, gives me a little bit of thinking that they think he can also perform pretty well in it too. So I'll take a shot at him at 475.
475 you're getting on this guy. Jazz Chisholm, I guess. Is he the longest shot in the field? Jazz Chisholm? I wouldn't think
I see, yes, Chisholm and Caminero, 12-1.
12 to 1. None of them strike you as they're going to put on a performance like Josh Hamilton did. But I mean, think about this: when Josh Hamilton crushed like 400 home runs in the first couple of rounds, he ended up losing the competition.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
shows you
the
how
point.
the format. I'm with you. I think the format just has gotten so pedantically slow that it's not fun to watch a guy just tire in the. As you're getting towards the climax of the competition, you should be coming on, and instead, it just seems like they're dragging about up there. And
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the time that you could do it that way, because I think those shows were a half hour each match, but it seems like
yeah,
they tried to
well, they
stretch
went
it out.
9 innings. It was
Yeah,
great.
the 9 innings, so you got 27 outs. Each guy, each bat, the 27 times they're not getting out of the park. And home runs were maybe tougher to come by the way these guys are built today, a little easier. But man, I think that would be a fun format, at least for the championship. Or maybe one year just have that be the format and bring 4 guys out there to do it that way. And then,
Yeah.
and then you have the semifinals and the finals, and that's it.
All
I
right, but
mean,
you'll be in action tonight, is what
yeah,
you're saying.
I would take a shot at Wood. I might throw something out there where there's
All
nothing.
right.
And I think you are making a great point to start the show.
Yeah.
That this was always the nights that the bookmaker had off, Monday and Wednesday, for in the longest time since we started. Our gray
Yeah.
hair shows our
It was Black
shows our
Wednesday
experience.
forever.
That's right. Now you have NBA Summer League,
Yeah.
there's soccer, World Soccer. You have the women WNBA, which is getting some popularity now with Caitlin Clark driving the league's popularity. I think you see people betting it. I know there's there's props on the female basketball, so that'll tell you that DraftKings and FanDuel are behind all this. So
Well,
yeah,
Wednesday, though, they put like every team in action, the WNBA.
yeah.
Not that gambling is fueling any interest in sports and driving the business model for these professional sports entities, but I thought that was kind of curious. I guess it started a couple of years ago where Black Wednesday was replaced with like an all-day WNBA spectacular, which I'd be hard-pressed to try and decipher WNBA games versus point spreads. But as you said, Caitlin Clark being back in action. Are they just going to continue to beat the fuck out of this girl? I mean, what the hell is going on with that?
I don't know. It seems like she's helping driving the business, driving the popularity of the game. I know there's some reporters.
Oh, why do the players hate her, though? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's just it surprises me, but you could take
She's
that. You
whooping
take,
their ass, personally.
yeah,
Yeah.
it surprises me. You would think they'd all be together to help raise the vision of the game and future and hopefully the money, but maybe some people just don't like her. I don't know. She started a little
She
bit of
seems like a very likable commodity, though.
yeah, she started a little bit at Iowa. She was kind of a talker, but that's the game today.
Yeah.
That's the game today.
Oh, no, unbelievable. Yeah, no, our good friend Christine Brennan, a
Yeah.
long time, distinguished journalist and commentator, was on a show with me last week, and she had just put out a book. I guess it's just coming out now on Caitlin Clark, where she pulled like a John Feinstein and followed her around for the better part of a year. And she was talking about that. It was a big issue where, I mean, these women in the WNBA seem to harbor incredible resentment against her. And she's done nothing but make the money. I mean, when she was out of the lineup, supposedly viewership went down 50%. Just having her not playing a few games with an injury when I mean, for the Indiana Fever, I don't know that they're exactly in the national spotlight. Who would watch an Indiana Fever game if Caitlin Clark wasn't on the court? Nobody. So people are betting on it though, and man, they're taking advantage of it because Black Wednesday now became an all WNBA fun fest
Pretty
for
cool.
the people that are inclined. Now you mentioned NBA Summer League. I'm watching this kid that was drafted by the Heat, and I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of his name. He was a first round pick of the Heat, Kasparis Jakasionis, something like that. Jakasionis might be a like an SH sound in there, but. Bricklayer, I mean, he's had 2 games. I don't know. I mean, how do you judge his stuff? That doesn't it look to you, Mike Jones, like when you used to line up and play a pickup game at the YMCA, or you go to LA Fitness and somebody says, "Hey, you want to run full?" You're down there at the other basket, just shooting with like a friend of yours, and it looks like that type of game, doesn't it? I don't know how anybody could really get a feel for what's going to go on in those games. If you're betting them. I know we got a lot of pushback and criticism for saying that you're insane if you're betting preseason football, but I would think that this was the lowest form of degeneracy that you're betting NBA Summer League games. And this kid didn't impress me at all, even though he's had a couple of decent games. He did have a stretch where he went 1 for 15 with 12 turnovers. And the look on Eric Spoelstra, the Heat's coach's face, which he looked like he was looking for the exit. I mean, this was going to be a disaster. I don't know. Can you really get into betting this stuff? It fascinates me that people think that they have a line on this. Is there?
Let me give a different take on this. So the other day, I'm listening to the VSiN guys, Mitch and Paulie, man, and they're talking with guys that are betting this, and some prop guys that they're finding DraftKings putting out props,
Yeah,
and they know who's playing, who's not. Like I just heard last night that the Mavericks are shutting down Flag for the rest of the summer league. So that's a possibility. At least that's what came out, whether it's a true report or not. But
well, why does he even play the one game then? I mean, what's the
yeah,
point?
I mean, it's just maybe he got nicked up or something, and they don't want to risk him. I don't really know the reasoning. I just heard from a post that
Maybe because it was 5 for 21.
Here's the point of this. You use that philosophy. Let's go with your philosophy.
Yeah,
Why are people betting summer league? So let's do this. Let's say that the odds maker knows more than the bettor. And the
okay.
odds maker puts out a line at 2.5. And then all of a sudden it gets bet up to 6.5 because some people they respect that they think is better than that. Maybe the 2.5 is the right line and take the 6.5. Well, if you did that day 2, you went 4-0. You're taking it against the line move. So maybe look at as you're better. If you're going to bet it, we're trying to bury bookies and we got to find a way. Maybe look at the summer league and see if there's value in the line move against it. So in other words, usually for years, we were always trying when we were betting, we were trying to beat the move. And if you laid 3 and the bookmaker had 5 and you did that numerous times, you were shut off from the bookmaker and so many different ways of moving lines. So maybe today it's bet the opposite way because I think I've seen a lot of success that there's so many different people moving lines today. Who's right and who's wrong? So the way I would look at it is maybe take it. I think one of the games last night was the Heat, where the Heat were a 4-point favorite and went up to a 5.5, 6-point favorite against Cleveland. And
They were getting crushed.
you take Cleveland, you get crushed, you win. I mean, that's kind of the philosophy I looked at when games were switched to favorites. It seemed like the team that was the previous favorite. I think Indiana played Cleveland one game, and Indiana was laying 2.5, and it went to Cleveland 1 or 3, and then the other way around, and people bet Indiana. So to me, I would look at it and say maybe the line move is fictitious. And you're getting a little edge by taking the points away from the original opening line. Just a thought.
You have a theory on it. I really do. It reminds me. I remember when I used to play basketball at the Hollywood YMCA in Hollywood, California, and Tommy Chong of Cheech and Chong fame actually was a pretty good basketball player, and he was running with us. And I'm thinking, could you imagine people betting on this crap? I mean, you're just hoping to find a guy out there cherry picking. It really does look like it looks like a pickup game in some recreational park or. just far from what you would expect that you have some tangible means of handicapping in the NBA. But I still never forget it. I think we mentioned it last week. I'm sitting in Atlantic City, just outside the sports book at this restaurant there at Harrah's, McCormick and Schmick's, and I'm watching these guys pouring over like sheets of paper that all handwritten notes, and it's got stacks of this stuff, and they're going back and forth, and they're arguing about this, that, and the other thing, and they got their stack of money ready to send it in. And I thought they have to be betting baseball, so maybe they'll give me a game. They look like they're really into it. I walk over and go, "You like anything Major League Baseball?" And they go, "No, we're not betting Major League Baseball. This is NBA Summer League." And I'm thinking, these guys need to be taken away in a straitjacket. So somebody's got to come pick them up. But there you go. Leave it to Mike Jones to have a theory that goes 4-0. When you're trying to combat the doldrums of either betting the home run derby or going all in on the WNBA on Wednesday. Will you bet the All-Star game? Doesn't the
I'll tell you, what I'm getting depressed about in watching baseball is fundamentally not getting guys with less than 2 outs in, bases loaded, 1 out, and a strikeout. And, so I might be inclined to take how many strikeouts the over-under in a game that the pitchers win the battle at the bat and go with strikeouts. I will tell you this. I'll give you a quick one because I know we got to run.
Yeah.
I'm getting on a couple of futures for Major League Baseball, and I'm really liking what's happening in Seattle.
Yeah,
I just a little worried about Raleigh going into the home run derby. Does it take a little bit out of his bat? And I really like what I'm seeing in Milwaukee. And I just took a look in Milwaukee. You can get them at 10-1 to win the pennant. Wow. You can get them at plus 250 to win the division, and you get them at 20-1 to win the World Series. So to me, I think with their pitching, Peralta pitching very well. They got Mizorowski. They have 2 or 3 starters. Their pen is good. Their bats might be what's suspect, but I always say great arms beat good bats in the playoffs. Give me the arms. And the other quick thing, too, I want to say about the All-Star game. So when is the last time we saw a 4-8 win-loss record starting the All-Star game?
Paul Skeens.
Right. And I was thinking, why not? I'm not sure if he's even done this yet. Has Ohtani allowed a run?
Yes.
I don't think he did.
Allowed a run at his first start.
He did. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I didn't see that.
First inning he pitched, he gave up a run.
And he's been silent since then, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought maybe you have him open the All-Star game, have fun with it. He's got a 1 ERA. Oh, he hasn't had a win, but the way the game is today, they'll do it. But I just thought it might be give him 1 inning and let him go bat, lead off, and have it fun. I just think he's the greatest ball player, athlete that's ever played the game. I think we didn't see Babe Ruth pitch and as dominant as whatever he was, but this guy, what he's doing, pretty tremendous.
Wow. No Ohtani, no Schwarber, no Judge.
Yep.
Just this Cal Raleigh. I don't know. Very lackluster. Unless Chris Berman doesn't do the back thing anymore. So I think I'll check it out for a few minutes. But
I like, but having one of those guys that you don't expect. That's a guy who's really thrilled to be there, like a young kid like Wood, who's a young player. That's why. To me, that's what I think is the reason.
Kid from Pittsburgh supposedly hits the ball like a howitzer every time. All right, Mike, we'll catch you tomorrow on the Big Gunner podcast right here on NoFilter.net.
Giants rookies and undrafted free agents tomorrow, so it's starting. So that's where they come in. So we got the camps opening up around the league. So it's fun time for NFL speculation.
All right, and you'll get into that tomorrow and on your show, and then we'll talk to you again on Thursday here on Bury. Mike, always a pleasure. Everybody out there, good luck with everything. Home run derby tonight, whatever Meshuggah bets you're going to be making on the All-Star game, strikeouts, balks, whatever. And, of course, a big card of WNBA on Wednesday. So we'll stagger into this week and hope to pick a winner in the Open for you and maybe cash at plus 1,100. That would be it would be 110, plus 110. 110 to win for every buck. That's not bad. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. For Mike, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time on Bury Your Bookie.